All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Director Quaidy,
Here.
Director McMillan,
Here.
Director Pacala,
Yes.
Director Robert,
Here.
Director Avila.
Here. We have a quorum. Thank you, everybody. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry, I missed it. Did we have Director McMillan?
Yeah, she's online.
Do we have to do any of the legal stuff to?
Nope, because the notice location on the agenda.
Oh, great. Okay. Okay. Do we have any members of the public?
We do have a member of the public online.
This portion of the agenda may be utilized by any member of the public to address the board of directors on any matter within the jurisdiction of the board that does not appear on the agenda, and on matters that are on the agenda but are not designated as action items. Depending on the subject matter, the board of directors may be unable to respond at this time or until a specific topic is placed on the agenda at a future Calleguas Municipal Water District Board meeting. In accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, please limit remarks to 3 minutes. Do we have any?
If any member of the public online would like to make comment at this time, please use the raise hand feature. There are no raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Items to be added to the agenda.
No items to be added.
No items. Item 4, review of the agenda. Has the board had time to review the agenda?
Mr. President, I do have a suggestion. Potentially moving item 7B ahead of 7A. 7B is a fiscal year budget for 25-26. And 7A is adoption of 3 resolutions for the proposed water rate increases. So I would suggest that we flip those to A and B. I also have few comments and questions on some of the consent agenda items.
Okay, let's start with item 4. Let's go ahead and move 7B before 7A. That will be heard prior to. And moving on to item 5, no presentations, consent calendar. Okay, Director Pacala.
Can I address the 7A, 7B real quick?
Yes.
So, Board of Directors, Dan Smith, Manager of Finance. The reason why I have 7A before 7B, because I like to adopt the water rates before I adopt the budget. So if we have made any changes to the water rates, we can then kind of incorporate that into the budget, because the budget and the water rates all kind of went together.
Okay.
We've always adopted the water rates prior to adopting the budget.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Dan.
I was just some bit of a method to the madness.
Okay.
And I put them on the agenda that way.
Got it. I'm sorry for not asking. I'll go ahead and apologize. I didn't think it was a big deal.
I'm sorry, I didn't think it was an issue.
Okay.
The way I looked at it is, first we need to look at the budget first, see what the budget numbers are before we really adopt resolutions or rates. That was my thought process.
Okay.
So whatever the case may be, if a board wants to change, I'm fine with it. That's how I did what I did.
Got it.
I have a suggestion. Why don't you go ahead and move out resolution for adopting the rates and put that first? And then we can take the B and the rest of A. Would that satisfy Dan?
I think we're just gonna complicate it a little bit too much. Staff already has a plan on how they'd like to accomplish it to keep things moving. Let's give them a shot at their method, and we'll
So
revisit.
leave it as is. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Can I add something too? I was going through this agenda this time. The first time I kind of realized, because there are so many different items, and especially the consent and the action
It
item,
was.
is that I was wondering if there's a way to reference page packet numbers. You know, it'd be kind of neat to have the page packet.
I love that.
I know JPIA does that all the time. It's very helpful in the hard copy. It kind of can be helpful.
Start doing that, please.
Could you maybe share with me how Aqua JPA does it and we can take a look at that? Because I haven't seen what you're describing, so I can't totally visualize the concept.
It sounds like he just wants the page numbers next to the item on, the
Well,
relevant information.
if I may, Mr.
Just imagine the agenda with the page numbers on the consent and action items, but they kind of do, and I think there's ways of like, on the information items, there's so many letters there that you just do one page of that, because there's so many follow-up and you're looking at that. So,
I think that's a good idea, just for Mr. President. It has 164 pages.
Yes.
So GMA, as a matter of fact, which I have been attending regularly, they, on the bottom of the page, says 1 of 164, all the way down. That's what they do. It's easy to follow. Right now, the way I follow is I go through, when you go into the internet, it gives you page numbers. So I go by those page numbers. That's how I reference myself.
When you say, you're talking about the bookmarks then?
Yeah, bookmarks.
Yeah, that's how I typically navigate it.
that's the other thing. Maybe somebody can teach me how to do bookmarks, because I don't see bookmarks between the agenda items.
Oh, no wonder okay, why don't we try that first before we add numbers? Because the bookmarks, they make an enormous difference.
That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, we can take a look at that after the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And let's move on to consent calendar.
Can I just highlight two potential changes to item E? One is a change in the resolution number to 2112. That's because we had some resolution numbers allocated that we didn't end up using, and then a correction in the dollar amount. Rather than 480,000 for NDI, it is 554.
554. Now, do we have any problems with changing that value?
You do not. It's on the agenda and it's clear that that specific issue is going to be addressed.
Okay,
So, and it's going to be, it could be pulled if anybody had a problem with it and wanted to discuss the number, but that, the point is it's on the agenda. People knew it was going to be discussed. This is a minor correction as opposed to an agenda issue.
okay, got it.
And we do have a presentation for item E when we're ready for that item.
Okay. Sounds like we should move that to the action items.
It can be, or it can just be adopted as part of consent. It's
Okay,
fewer votes.
all right, let's go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm going to share my screen here. Change perfect. Okay. Okay, good evening, Board of Directors. So tonight's presentation is on the Fairview Well Rehabilitation, project number 589. I wanted to give a quick overview of this project, starting with some history, the proposed project going forward, and next steps. So starting with the history, the Fairview Well was constructed back in 1992 and operated as an aquifer storage and recovery well up until 1998. Recently, when the water supply and service study was completed, it identified the use of the well as a source to supply Waterworks District Number 1 during imported water outages as one of the most cost-effective projects. The project would require redevelopment of the well, which has been completed, and associated system upgrades, which is the subject of this proposed action. So as I mentioned, we previously performed work. Board previously approved the capital project budget allocation to perform the redevelopment of the well. That included inspection, cleaning, treatment, pumping, and water quality sampling. After the redevelopment, we gauged the capacity of the well to be approximately 2.8 cubic feet per second. Pumping this over a 6-month period would be able to supply approximately 1,000 acre feet to Waterworks District Number 1. We also completed preliminary design, which identified the necessary infrastructure improvements necessary to be able to deliver this water to Waterworks District 1. I'd like to also note that no additional approvals are needed from Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency. And that's because the water extracted from the well would be imported water stored via Las Cosas Basin Aquifer and Aquifer Storage and Recovery well field, or they would be credits Calleguas has accumulated to date in the Las Cosas Valley Basin.
Wow.
So touching on the water quality, we performed a sampling back in 2021 after redevelopment of the well. And the iron and manganese, as you can see, the results were higher than the secondary maximum contaminant levels here. Now, we would address this by the blending scenarios as follows. During normal operation, when we would perform well maintenance and turn the well on, we would be blending any water coming from the well with imported water from Met, from the well field, or Lake Bard. During a Met outage of imported water, we would still be able to blend that water with water coming from Lake Bard or the well field. And in an extreme outage where water was only available from this well to water position number 1, well, those would be dire conditions, and no water, wet water is better than no water. So hopefully we don't have to see those ever. So now let's talk about the project going forward that's been proposed. The project includes replacement of the well pump and motor, adding new valves and piping for blending and disinfection, replacement of the well electrical and instrumentation equipment, connection points for a portable generator to operate the well pump if we lose utility power, installation of new disinfection system, recoating of existing pump station motor and piping, and recoating of the existing surge tank. So pending board approval, the next steps would include to prepare plans and specifications. And once those are completed and bid documents are ready, we would return to this board, requesting authorization to call for bids. And with that, that completes my presentation, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Fernando. Questions from the board?
Well, first I have a comment. I had several questions about water quality from the groundwater well. And also I had questions about water supply from the groundwater well hydrogeology. I'd like to thank Christine for providing responses to all my questions. After review of the information I support the project moving forward.
And I have to give credit to Fernando because most of those answers didn't come from me. They came from me, but they really, Fernando did most of the legwork on that.
Okay. I also want to say there's a summary of total costs included as part of the staff report. I think from my perspective, that's a good thing to know. When you're looking at a project, going out to bid, it gives you an entire list of the cost, planning, design, construction.
Yes.
My thought is infrastructure costs are so expensive. Every time we show the total costs to ourselves and others, they know how expensive these are.
Agreed.
Thank you, Dirk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dirk McQueen?
I have some questions. I wonder if it's something that you already went over, but basically my question is triggered from the text here. This is 6G, right?
E. Oh, no, sorry, you're right, G.
6G.
Yeah, G, you're right.
26. I see elevated arsenic levels were believed to be the result of chemicals used. And so because of that word believed, I just want to ask the question that, so we have confirmed this well does not have elevated arsenic levels either from plume or geological sources over time.
Correct. So after we detected the arsenic, we did additional testing to verify that the arsenic levels would be declining as we pumped more. We found that the arsenic was a byproduct of the chemicals used during the redevelopment process that caused the leaching of the arsenic.
So that's more of a confirmation, not a belief.
Well, what we can confirm is that the arsenic was gone once we did the additional pumping.
And
So we know that the water quality is good. We say believe because we don't have 100% confirmation that was the original source, but that's the only working theory we have.
Yeah,
And it makes sense with what we've observed.
yeah, I imagine there's no amount of study that would establish certainty, but from a period of time, if there was like a 3-month interval or 6-month interval, you end up purging and resampling and confirming that that's not arsenic in there, then that would.
We also looked at other wells in the area, neighboring wells, and none had a history of having any arsenic either.
How much do you purge before you take a water sample?
I don't have that number.
Typically several volumes of the well column, because you want to make sure what you're getting is the water from the
fresh water.
formation, not water that's been hanging out there. In this case, I think they did substantially more than that, but we'd have to get back to you with a specific volume.
Yeah, it was.
That's all documented in the
It
reporting.
is, it is.
Would it be worthwhile to do a periodic retest just sometime in the future to make sure it's gone, not something else we didn't identify that's still leaching?
I believe we can certainly go back and do some testing, sampling, I should say.
Because that would kind of, it would confirm the fact that it was something that was in the past and has been removed and is no longer present. Because if it's something that's leaching slowly, it accumulated and then you pumped it out, it's undetectable. But then if it's continuing to leach, then you can see it again. Just to confirm that that's not there anymore. I mean, arsenic's not a fun chemical. So.
Yeah. So additional sampling certainly can be performed.
Yeah, we haven't budgeted for that in this. We'll talk with the design team and kind of see as design progresses and what might make sense in the broader context.
Yeah, something to think about. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. President or the engineering staff, I thought the reason for elevated arsenic is because of the type of cleaning material they used for the development of the well. It's artificially introduced into the well. It's not naturally occurring in the geological.
Correct. It's not naturally occurring. That is correct.
Assuming.
And certainly that there's no contributing plumes, so. It's nice to know. I had to ask that because it's a peace of mind thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good question. You know, with that, you know, any neighboring wells, have they ever come up with?
The history that we found did not indicate any arsenic present in any of the wells.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Director McMillan? Any questions, Director McMillan?
Oh, you can't see her on the screen, right? She's shaking her head, no.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we can't see you, Director McMillan.
Sorry, no. I had some beeping going on and I was trying to unmute it
Got it.
or mute it.
That was the only consent calendar item for which staff had a presentation, and I do apologize, that is item G. I said E when we entered it.
Okay. Okay, what other questions does the board have? Any questions for the minutes? Comments for the minutes? Item B.
Item B, yeah, this is a approval of consultant contracts without fixed scope of fee for contracts over $100,000. And there are a total of 6 contracts, totaling $2.7 million, which totaling $2.7 million. Staff report says staff obtains hourly rates for the contracts and approves payments on monthly basis for the work completed. My question is, why would we not include these hourly rates as part of the contract,
As part of,
of the consultant contracts?
I don't think I understand the question, as part of what the board is approving? Or as part of, I mean, it is.
As for the consultant contracts.
So the consultants each have a professional services agreement, and they provide rate sheets for all of the different staff that could be involved on a periodic basis. I would say it's in force until they provide another one that we approve to replace.
Okay, so these are what I used to know as annual contracts. These are not independent consultant contracts. So you already have the consultant. That's what my question.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. I got the answer. Thank you.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Item C, any questions on the Falcon Fuels?
Well, I just have a comment. This is for Falcon Fuels. It does show the cost per gallon of price in the contract, so it's good to know.
My question is similar. I'm assuming it's an approval of an overall cost to be used or budget to be used, and then the cost that we pay varies based off of the market price of fuel.
Both the market price of the fuel as well as how much fuel we utilize, which can vary just based on how much we're driving around. And of course, this year varied a great deal because of the extensive use of the diesel backup generators during the PSPS events in January.
Do they give us a bulk discount or is it pump prices?
No, it's competitively bid. It's a state contract, so the state competitively bids it, and then we're allowed to participate in that. So that we don't have to competitively bid it ourselves.
Oh, that's good.
So there is the advantage, the cost advantage of being competitively bid, and I would say there is some bulk discount because we're buying a lot of fuel and because it's available to the entire state, to all public agencies who want to participate.
I guess no state tax.
I think we do pay state tax on gasoline.
That's negotiated.
Dan's nodding. We are subject to most taxes, but not all. Like, we don't have to pay property tax here. We do have to pay property tax for our facilities in LA County. And we do have to pay sales tax. So I think gas tax would fall into the same category. And of course, we do buy red dye fuel for diesel generators and off-road vehicles wherever possible. Because those aren't subject to the taxes that pay for roads.
So the well field is red dye?
Not all the fuel. I mean, obviously the fuel we put in the cars we drive on the road.
Yeah, no.
Is not.
But the backup tanks in the back? Yeah. Okay.
As well as what we use, I think, for mowers and stuff that aren't.
Yeah. Wait.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the consent calendar?
Sorry, I have
Go ahead, that's why we're here.
item D. I was not aware of AB 2561.
It is new. This is our first time taking this particular action.
Effective January 2025. The good news is Calleguas is easily complying with all the requirements, especially we have one vacancy which is being reclassified. It's good news. That's all.
Thank you. All right, if that's.
Item 6D, and award of contract from Lindoro Pump Station. I just have some kudos for engineering staff. When I looked at the 3 bids, they were all very close. Actually, 2 bids, very close. Engineer's estimate is right in the middle. That's not very, very usual.
No, it's an outstanding outcome, really.
Whoever did the estimates did a good job.
Yes. I think that also, when I saw that, I thought back to the other engineering estimates that we put out and then it got bids way too high. It gives me confidence that they are overbidding and our engineering staff is more accurate. Because when you see that, you're like, well, did we under project it or are they overbidding it? And so it gives me confidence kind of in those situations as well.
Yeah, and I have to give credit to the design engineer, Kennedy Jenks, who did the cost estimating on that.
Yep.
We verify and, staff will request adjustments and make comments, but they're the ones who made the estimate.
That's right. Hey, Jenks. Yep, kudos to them.
One other comment, there are no contingencies shown as part of this contract, especially for the change orders. If I'm sure there may be some change orders, contingencies would be added later on. How does that work?
So when we requested authorization calling for bids, at that time, we also asked for capital project budget allocation for construction. That was based on the engineer's estimate for the construction costs. We did add a contingency to that. So depending on if the low bidder was excessively higher than the engineer's estimate, we would at this time request additional budget if that was needed.
Yeah, and then change orders as they arise, because they are inevitable on projects specifically, particularly when you're working on an existing facility like we will be here. Staff has a certain level of change order authority. And if it goes above that, then we would bring a change order to the board. That happens infrequently, but it has happened.
Okay. Well, Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, I am going to be abstaining from the minutes since I missed the meeting last week. Besides that, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve item number 6, consent agenda items.
Okay. Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Whiting?
Here, right.
Director McMillan?
Aye.
Director Pacala?
Yes.
Director Robert?
Yes.
Director Avila?
Yes. Okay. On to,
I thought you meant to abstain.
yeah, I said that before. Yes, abstain.
Okay.
It'll be reflected in.
Okay.
Abstaining from the minutes will be reflected in the minutes.
I abstain from reflecting. Hi, Dan. All right, action items. All right, item A, public hearing and discussion regarding adoption of proposed resolution number 2109, establishing rates, rules, and regulations for water service. Resolution number 2110, establishing rates for discharge to SMP, and resolution 2111, adjusting fees for annexation to the district.
All right, good evening, directors. Today, we're gonna hopefully hold the public hearing for adopting our rates. Just to kind of go through this, we have issued statements out in the newspapers notifying everybody that we were holding the public hearings today. We've also did this presentation to the purveyors back in April, right after we set the public hearing, where we went through the same presentation basically that I had given you. We gave to the purveyors. We have not heard anything from any of the purveyors at this time. So we are looking to just adopt these resolutions after we open the public hearing and see if there's any public comments. But we have not received any written comments from anybody.
Okay, since we do have members of the public at this point, I'd like to open this meeting to the public.
Okay, if any of the members of the public would, oh, and we have a raised hand from Director, I presume it's listed as Andy, but I presume it's Director Nelson from Camarosa, as he is a regular attendee of our meetings. So if we could unmute him.
Yeah, just bring them in.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Well, first of all, before I comment on the rate structures, I want to thank members of this board and the general manager for attending a Leisure Village meeting hosted by Tony Tremblay, the council member from Camarosa. And there was a good presentation and well received. And the reason why I bring it up during this component is that Leisure Village has somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 residents. It's a pretty good chunk of people who are susceptible to rate changes that roll down from Metropolitan through Calleguas to Camarosa. And we are very sensitive in our district, as well as for that village, that people are on fixed incomes, and you can see the accelerating costs that are going in there and the sensitivity of that. And I want to encourage the board, as you've done in your new leadership as chair, and also your new leadership as general manager, to look for alternative sources to reduce the cost long-term, or hold the costs at a reasonable level as much as possible, as we see Metropolitan continuing to increase in a monopolistic way that looks at scarcity rather than where the assets and strengths might be. I commend the board. I've gotten good reactions from our public at Leisure Village just today. Please continue the good work, and we hope that you keep in mind the fixed income of some of the older residents of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Nelson. I'll just say something general real quick. Our board definitely keeps in mind any cost increase. Any cost increase is taken very seriously by our board, and we will do everything we can to maintain a stable rate or minimize increases as much as possible. Yeah. Director McCall.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have few general comments.
Before we get to that, do we have any more questions from members of the public?
Yeah, anyone else from the public who'd like to comment, please use the raise hand feature at this time. There are no raised hands.
Okay, at this point, I would like to close the public hearing and open back to our board for discussion.
I was just going to make a note that it's nice to hear that our efforts are seen and appreciated. Resiliency and redundancy and safety, but also looking at dynamic options for sources of water and agreements and all that has been a huge priority for us. At least that I've seen in the last 3 years, and I'm happy to see that that is something that we saw coming ahead of time, and we've worked towards it, and it's a big initiative for our board. And so I think we didn't start too late, and that was a great initiative. So
Yeah. Director McCollum?
Yes, as some of our board members have already said, our board takes the annual water rate increases very seriously, and we are very sensitive to rate increases. And this is the third meeting we're having about the budgets. The first meeting was, I believe, on April 16th. Then on 4th, we had another detailed update from our staff on the budgets. And today is the public hearing. And the debt coverage for Calleguas is 2.46, which is well above 1.25% required for bond underwriters. Calleguas is financially sound to construct interconnections to surrounding water agencies and to provide 6 months water supply during earthquake emergencies. Calleguas is also coordinating with our purveyors and working with them to develop a local water supply through brackish groundwater desalination projects. Our board has been proactive to see where we could increase supply, maybe stabilize rates in the future as we develop new projects. We also our board reviews all the expenditures on a monthly basis, and we scrutinize them, and we approve those expenditures by Calleguas. So again, I know increasing water rates is not desirable, but without those increased rates, we will not be able to do our job providing efficient operations and maintenance. So I support the proposed action.
Director McQuady?
Well, I'll just say that we have, as in the past, scrutinized how we get to these rates. We have utilized purveyor meetings to have exchanges with purveyors to come up with ideas on what we can do. But also in the past, we have absorbed or tried to postpone types of payments. And at this point, the way Met has accelerated cost, it looks quite challenging for us to be able to maintain and sustain our programs of both viability and infrastructure health. So I think that we have done the pre-work to try to come up with the least cost increase that we can.
Thank you. Director McMillan?
No, I just want to congratulate staff. I think they have done a great job in doing everything that the board just commented on. So kudos to them. Good work.
Thank you, Director McMillan.
To go off that, the fact that we didn't get any recent comments from purveyors gives a testament to our purveyor meetings where we collaborate and discuss and explain. And I think staff does a great job of holding informative and I want to say exciting, but interesting. Oh, I think that's a great format and great venue.
I'd like to, again, thank staff, but also bring attention to the ever increasing rates of Metropolitan Water District and the the need for us to develop the local supplies and possibly create a certain percentage that's still, I think we need to look at where we develop the local supply and say we do 20% separation from MET because, and I'm just throwing a random number out there, not saying anything specific there, but with MET rates looking like they will be doubling in the near future, in the next, was it 3 to 6 years? Was it from the last presentation we got from MET? They're gonna be going drastically up, is that correct?
Some of the projections there are going to be doing some larger increases in the next couple of years, but I don't know if it's going to get to doubling in 3 to 6 years. They're going to start leveling off, I think, in that third to fourth year where they're starting to look at 3 to 5% rate increases.
Okay. And with that being said, it's drastic increases and our purveyors are gonna feel it. And it goes back to what I asked from staff to look at doing fixed rates for our percentage of the rate that goes out to our purveyors and also developing local supplies for us to have a separate supply aside from MET. That would work to stabilize rates and also give us some separation from MET. It doesn't please me one bit to do these large increases, but they are past the rates, so for the most part.
Yes, and staff, excuse me, is of course undertaking the implementation actions on the wrist. And as you know, Dan is planning to undertake a cost of service study where we will take a look at potential alternative approaches to fixed versus variable costs with our rates.
Okay, thank you. And with that, looking for a motion.
Think anybody wants to make a motion?
I make a motion
I'll
that we
second.
adopt all 3 resolutions.
McMillan seconds.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Quady,
Aye.
Director McMillan,
Yes.
Director Facala,
Yes,
Director Robert,
Grudgingly.
Director Avila.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes. Keep. Item 7B, discussion regarding fiscal year 2025-26 budget, including updated salary schedule and org chart with new and reclass positions.
Hey, good evening, directors again. And so tonight we're looking to adopt next year's fiscal year budget. We've had a detailed discussion with this at the last board meeting where we went through all the details of all the department budgets and gave you plenty of opportunity to ask questions. Tonight's, we're looking just to adopt the budget. We've included the budget itself without the detail. We're looking to also adopt the salary schedule for a couple of those reclass positions. We had to create salaries for those positions. And we've also provided the new org chart that's going to be reflecting these new positions throughout the district. With that, if there's any additional questions, we're available to answer them, but nothing has changed in the budget document since last time we presented it to you.
I will just say, I wasn't able to thank you for a very detailed but equally digestible presentation, so I appreciate that.
well, I just want to thank you for the thorough analysis of all the numbers. There's a lot of number crunching goes on behind the scene. And we appreciate all your hard work and you do a very good job.
Thank you.
One question I have for you is when would this rates will be sent to our purveyors?
Of the rates themselves. So really I wait until after July 1st. About the 15th of July, I would say, is when I'm really going to be sending out the memo to all the purveyors. Because the readiness to serve charge is allocated on a 10-year fiscal year annual sales average. And so I wait until I get those July numbers to actually do the final calculation for the RTS. That will become effective January 1st of 2026.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board?
Just thank you very much. It's always a piece of work. It's excellent.
Okay, any questions or comments from members of the public? Please raise your hand. Okay.
There are no raised hands.
No raised hands. With that, we're looking for a motion.
So moved. McMillan.
Second.
We have a first and 3 seconds.
Which, fine with,
Director Robert was the first second and
okay,
Director Quady was the motion.
first, okay.
There's first and then a second.
Director Quady.
Aye.
Director McMillan.
Aye.
Director Pacala.
Yes.
Director Robert.
Yes.
Director Vila.
Aye. Okay, thank you. The motion carries. Thank you very much, Dan. And thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 8, reports. First one is general manager and staff reports. Item 1, May 2025 water use and sales, April 25 for generation, May 25 investment summary reports. Dan Smith, welcome back.
Great, so tonight we're doing the water use and sales report through the month of May. So in May, we sold 6,737 acre feet of water, which was just a little bit more than what we had budgeted. So we are continuing to see increase over the previous year as far as water sales go. You can see that with the blue, our getting back up there on a regular basis. Overall for the year, we're at 68,000, almost 69,000 acre feet of sales. I anticipated only being at 65,800 at this point, so we are above. We're on pace for, like I've been saying, about 76,500 acre feet for this year. So we're looking good, and water sales have definitely come in a little bit higher than we anticipated for this fiscal year. You can see on these graphs how we've been at or above budget for most of this fiscal year. And even over the last 12 months, we are actually looking a little bit more normal than what we've seen in the past 2 years, where we're consistently below budget in those years. Looking at the Metropolitan invoice, you can see that we had total water sales of $9.4 million. We did add a little bit of water into storage during this month. And then we had a reconciliation adjustment to get to the Met water of $9.5 million. Regular RTS and CRC is there. We did get some money from the local resources projects, mostly for Camarosa and for Camarillo desalters. A little bit of conservation and turf replacement of 7,300. We continue to see little bits of that coming through on a monthly basis to bring us to the total Met bill for May of $10.2 million. So the Met bills are beginning to get bigger as we go along. Looking at the SMP discharge, I'm happy to report we actually beat budget for this month. We had 82.5 acre feet of discharge. Typically been budgeting 78 acre feet. Although over for the year, we're still well behind. We've only brought in 638 acre feet of discharge, and we should have been closer to 822. So it's a little bit short still. More good news on the power generation front. We had $50,000 in power generation. We had budgeted 31,000, so we're ahead on that, putting us ahead for the fiscal year as well. We're at 475,000 with 2 months to go. Very much anticipating hitting that $600,000 mark by the end of the fiscal year, as long as things still go as planned. Taking a quick look at the revenues, you can see for the month of May, we had $12.7 million in revenues for water sales, bringing our year-to-date total to $123.6 million out of a budget of $131.7 million. So we are again a little bit ahead of where we should be because of the additional water sales. Recycled water continues to be well above what we had anticipated, but the dollar amounts were small. SMP is below, and power generation continues to be pretty much right on pace of where we expected it to be for the $600,000. And then finally, looking at the cash and investments for May of 2025, we did bring a little bit of extra money in May. A lot of that's due because of the timing of the year. We always see cash increase at this point as our water sales money is coming in faster than we're paying Metropolitan. We're paying Metropolitan bills from a couple months back, where the purchases were less. So we were bringing a little extra cash. We're holding on to the cash right now because just in the last few days, we sent all that money out to pay for our debt service. So we got rid of all the cash out of the bank account as of June 15th. At the end of May, we were holding on to it. That's all I have, unless there's some additional questions.
Director Pacala?
No, thank you.
No questions. Quady? Director Quady?
That's it.
Nope. Surprised me today. Any other questions from the board? Questions, comments? Okay. Thank you, Dan.
That concludes the Dan Smith portion of the agenda.
All right. Item 8A2, Water Career Video Series, Jen Vasquez.
Yeah, I am really excited to have Jen share with you tonight a project she's been working on that I just think is so very amazing. And I think we'll have her intro it, and then you'll get to see the work product.
Product, yes. Good afternoon, board. Thank you for having me today. I'm proud to introduce the Calleguas Water Career Video Series that we worked on in the last few months. I did want to have a short introduction first, and then once we hit play, we'll go quicker through the 4 videos that I'll be talking about just briefly right now. One thing that I wanted to share is that we know that videos are really powerful. I think we've learned across the years with social media and different elements that videos are a powerful way of sharing stories. So that's really where this mindset came from, of creating 4 water career videos from Calleguas staff. And so I am very thankful for the staff that participated in these videos. They accepted to be obviously on camera, some with mild hesitation. And I had to mention that because recruiting the 4 that you will see today, I won't mention who, but we had some, obviously they trusted the vision is what how I worded it. They trusted the vision of what we were trying to achieve with these videos. So I, of course, first and foremost, want to thank the full group, and then I'll list them again as I play their video. I want to thank Cesar Romero, Senior Project Manager, James Mojica, who's actually here in the room with us, IT Specialist 3, Katie Maddox, Senior Administrative Assistant, Jared Uribe, Senior Maintenance Crew Leader. So those are the 4 videos that you will see shortly, and I'll introduce each. And the video series again emerged as one of our workforce strategies to help highlight broad representation of water career professionals. Initially, I thought these as recruiting videos. When people look up Calleguas, we want to highlight the work that people are doing and want to invite them to join our staff. But they really bypassed my expectations as soon as I hit, as soon as we started recording, and you'll see the magic that we saw within a few seconds of hitting play. So again, these videos will be used to inform and inspire students, staff, and residents to know that behind these positions are people that truly care about what they do. They care about their communities and truly reflect our mission statement. And we will have social media versions of these videos. I did want to mention that with this update. And of course, additionally, as noted in the budget presentation at the last meeting, we are planning on 4 additional videos, as was presented at the last meeting. So lastly, before hitting play, I wanted to thank all of the Calleguas staff that supported this effort, from fine-tuning the interview questions to organizing access to the sites that you will see featured in the videos, to allowing us to be in their workspace for a day, because we were intrusive at times, just being in their offices and in our Calleguas sites. So that's the end of my introduction, and just saying thank you to everyone involved with this. And we'll go ahead and kick it off with Cesar Romero, again, Senior Project Manager, and he'll share a little bit more about his role.
Funny story. I have to go back to the beginning of my career, back to, it must have been 2006. I was working as a consulting engineer, going to a construction job site, walked on site with a clean, new hard hat, a clean safety vest, and clean steel toe boots. And the contractor on that project, everyone made fun of me for being so clean. So what I should have done is I should have got some dirt on that hard hat and that vest before going on site. Hello, my name is Cesar Romero, and I'm a Senior Project Manager with Calleguas Municipal Water District. What I love most about my job is the people I work with. This is a great place, good coworkers, good supervisors. The work that we do is very technically challenging, and there will never be a boring day, or no project or day is ever the same. A typical work day for me involves lots of coffee to get started, get the day going, managing projects from the planning to design and construction, prioritize the day, and diving straight into reviewing the plans and specifications for our project. Went to Oxnard High School, moved on and attended Ventura College for several years, doing the preliminary engineering coursework, And then I transferred to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and go Mustangs. And that's where I finished my engineering degree. And then went to work right away as an engineering consultant. My prior work experience and the desire to come back home is what led me to pursue this position. Calleguas has definitely helped support my career goals in regards to providing opportunities to attend professional conferences, whether they're the ASE pipeline conferences or APWA conferences. In terms of certifications that have advanced my career or licenses, I think the most prominent achievement was getting my license as a professional engineer, as a civil engineer, that is. Conflicts will arise. It's the nature of our job, whether it's with a contractor, a consultant, another public agency, perhaps even with our coworkers and colleagues. Conflicts, it comes with the business that we do, but it's all about how you resolve that conflict, to maintaining your composure, maintaining respect, and getting the job done. I've worked with Calleguas now going on the 15th year. I just finished my 14th, so it's been going by fast, but it's been very good and rewarding in regards to the work experience and the people I've met along the way, the projects that have been completed. If I had a friend or met someone at a career fair that was interested in doing what we do at Calleguas in regards to water resources, I would definitely lean on the direction of the engineering side and recommend they take the early coursework to pursue engineering, whether it's civil, mechanical, or electrical. Engineer in the water resources business was definitely the right choice for me. Since day one, it has been challenging, but very rewarding. It's exciting to work on projects that are not only complex, but essential to the region's future.
Thank you. That was the first one. And so we'll roll into the second one. I'll give Wes a second. I just want to say that in that video, my plants were not paid actors. They're in the background there. We added some greenery. And so just, the whole concept was really fun as we moved into the filming, kind of thinking about how to capture these videos. So the next one will be James Mojica, as I mentioned, our IT specialist 3.
I talked to Caesar a lot, and I know that wasn't me that he was talking to on the phone. It's taking the phone.
All businesses have information technology that drives administration type roles. But what sets the water districts apart really is the SCADA system. My name is James Mojica, and I'm an IT specialist here at Calleguas Municipal Water District. So SCADA is supervisory control and data acquisition. So it's a bunch of big fancy words for monitoring the distribution and treatment of the water system. Just by knowing that exists and learning about SCADA systems will get you really far in the water industry in the IT world. I've been an IT pro for about 15 years. In 2018, I got my master's in network and communications management at DeVry. CCNA, or the Cisco Certified Network Associate certification, really helped drive the progression in my career. So that was really important, and JAMF as well. So JAMF is MDM, which is mobile device management. We don't have the JAMF product here, but a lot of the same foundation and techniques and best practices apply. What makes it really different than just a standard business IT type is they call it OT, which is operational technology. And that's what relates to SCADA. So being able to differentiate IT versus OT will set you apart from just regular IT functions. We are considered a critical infrastructure because of water distribution and treatment. In IT, we're always fighting cybersecurity type issues. So it's just being able to constantly learn and keep up with those sophisticated attacks and just making sure that we're ready and we're prepared for any type of event. A typical workday at Calleguas consists of monitoring lots of systems. So we have a lot of applications for IT. We monitor a SCADA system, and we also do a help desk and desktop type support. Calleguas has supported my career goals by providing training. So my CCNA was due to expire in 2023. They allowed me to do the continuation credits so I can maintain and keep my CCNA active. And also I have a couple of trainings coming up just to help fortify my knowledge now. So we have trainings for the SCADA system, so that way I can be stronger in supporting that role. Our IT team is always looking ahead. As an IT specialist, there's always firefighting, right? Things that break, so things you have to go and fix immediately. But one thing that I think is important as IT specialists to think about is being proactive and always just working ahead and try to get ahead of the curve. It's important for me to continue learning and learn from the more senior type employees here at Calleguas. The average tenure for Calleguas is almost 15 years. So what that really means is there's a lot of institutional knowledge where I can absorb and learn from. So it's really important to surround yourself with positive type vibes so that way you stay motivated, you stay hungry to progress and make the next big move.
Thank you. That was the second one. And again, thank you, James, for braving the outside. There is a second where you hear a bird. They were also in the background. And I think we had to retake one time. We had to repeat the answer to his question for that reason. So thank you for dealing with the outside elements. And then I'll prompt the third one, which is Katie Maddox, Senior Administrative Assistant. And that's the video coming up now.
I think one of my funniest moments, which is so embarrassing, there's kind of a learning curve with the operations and maintenance side. I think especially as a woman, not knowing a lot of construction background, I was reading a quote one time and the material description just said SS. And I mistakenly said sterling silver, and it's really stainless steel. And so the guys got a good laugh at me about that one. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to live that one down, but I still laugh about it myself. Because that would be a pretty expensive valve to be in sterling silver. Doesn't even make sense. But my name is Katie Maddox, and I'm a Senior Administrative Assistant in General Services Department. I was just coming out of college. I graduated from CSUN with a business management degree in 2019 and just wanted to find a job that could help me pay off those loans. And so I figured, you know, government work is not only stable, but it's really satisfying. When I first started here, you know, I was single, and in my 6 years that I've been employed here, I've gotten married and had a baby, and the stability of this work definitely allows for you to have a family. A typical workday for me is actually not that typical. So I work in the General Services Department, pick up tasks for all of the other departments. I could be trying to pull an encroachment permit with any of the cities that we operate in. I could be making small or really large purchases. I purchase anything from various size batteries to chlorine for our treatment plant to uniforms for our employees to lunch for a meeting. I took a couple courses at Ventura Community College in water science, and taking those semester-long courses enabled me to get my certifications with the state in both water treatment and water distribution. And with taking those courses, I was able to go to the level 2 right away and kind of skip over 1. And so I hold both of those certifications currently. It's definitely helped me learn how the system as a whole operates, because in each of those courses, they kind of went over different aspects of what we do here, as far as when we do run the treatment plant, that whole process of bringing in the water, filtering it, treating it, sending it out. And then for the distribution side, it did help me learn a little bit about valves and all the different kinds of pipes. Within Calleguas, everyone is so tight-knit. It's so amazing to work at a place where people have worked here for 30 years or 20 years. I've never been at a company like that before. There's a lot of opportunity here. People stay because the work is really meaningful and the mission is steady.
And that was the third video. I loved her video, obviously the introduction. Asking these questions was really interesting because we don't know, you know, obviously we're going to say an answer. It totally caught me off guard. And so that day I was actually mic'd up also. She had a mic, I had a mic. Luckily we had the dual audio so that they could cut off my part because I was laughing so hard. Like live, like we just started laughing so hard. I was like not expecting it at all, and just the flow and how natural she is with it. I just really enjoyed that part. This third or fourth and final video is Jared Uribe, as mentioned. He's our senior maintenance crew leader. I love the visual of this one, and again, he did an amazing job, and we'll go ahead and hit play.
You really don't realize how much work goes into just being able to have water at your faucet. There's countless hours of people that are working day and night just to make sure you can get up in the morning to take a shower, you can cook, to water your lawn. It's a thankless job, but it's fulfilling. It really is. So every day we're helping make sure our community has safe water, even though they don't think about it. My name is Jerry Jaribi, and I am a senior system maintenance crew leader. The biggest inspiration to come into the water industry was my family. Majority of my career has been in the HVAC field, right? So it was a lot of light construction, working with hand tools, and I think that's what made my transition to the water industry so seamless, because I had that knowledge of working with tools, working around blueprints. What I love most about working here is just being a part of something bigger than myself. You know, I really didn't realize until I started working here what impact Calleguas has in the community. They service over 650,000 customers. Just being a small part of that really inspired me. A typical workday for system maintenance staff varies from day to day. They could be tasked with pipeline maintenance, which consists of valve exercising, corrosion control, and paintings and coatings, to building and facility maintenance, where they can be doing light construction, masonry, to just general upkeep. We also support other divisions inside the O&M. I currently hold a State Water Resource Control Board Water Distribution Operator 5 and a Water Treatment Operator 2. I'm also currently enrolled in a JPIA Professional Development Program, which helps me improve my leadership and my management skills in the leadership role I'm currently in. I do see myself as a coach, pushing everybody to do their best, getting people to take pride in what they do. You're only as good as your weakest link. As far as Calleguas goes, they've been real tremendous in helping me achieve my career goals that I have set for myself. What makes Calleguas special is we have the people and the team that truly cares. Once I started working here, you realize that every department has to work together to let water flow continuously without interruption. How proud I am to work here, to be able to supply the community, and how much of an impact my job has on, 650,000 people that we supply water to.
Those are the 4 videos. I look forward to creating 4 additional ones and highlighting other departments. That's really the goal with these videos, and highlighting our staff, like I mentioned earlier. So I'll take any questions or comments you may have.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Their parents must be so proud.
Director McMillan would really like to speak.
I think I hear somebody.
These are beautiful, beautiful videos. I can see this going to some award presentation on workforce development or something like that. It's exciting, and I'm so thrilled that we have produced these, and I can't believe how professional they are. I shouldn't be shocked given the levels of skill that we have in our staff, but it's so fulfilling to see these type of things being rolled out, and I look forward to them being posted on our website. So congratulations. This really makes me excited. And maybe the next one will be Dan and his spreadsheets. That would be great.
I was just going to say, having spoken with staff and knowing what we do and how fulfilling it is, I'm still blown away by these, just to really get to know what drives our staff and those stories and all that. Really fantastic videos.
Oh, the videos are very well done. They're funny and they're informative. If I'm still looking for a job,
A fly.
but I'm not.
I just want to make sure that they understand what a great job they did. I know it's kind of a little nervous for them when they have to step up in front of the video like that, but just tell them they did a great job. I mean,
They look like professional actors. I mean, it's like, I know it's real, but really.
And I want to correct the term, these aren't paid actors. They are paid actors.
Hey, lots of training.
It's not in their job description. Yes, and other duties as apply.
It's another day, okay?
Yeah, no, it is. I just can't say how proud I am of the work Jen has done to make these happen, of all the people who were interviewed in the videos and contributed their time. I actually watched these while we were at Aqua, the
Yeah.
first cuts, and
Oh,
no joke, both laughed and cried. And I'm so proud of the work that we've done and so excited to share these widely. We'll be sharing them with the purveyors at the purveyor meeting next week, sharing them on socials, and absolutely they will be submitted for appropriate awards.
good. Yeah, they were amazing. I can't say enough about them. It was pretty incredible. My question, I do have a question though, is, are these going on our YouTube, our social medias? What's the plan for them?
Yeah, so we are hoping to add them to our website and on social media. We are in the process of creating shorter versions of those same videos, since there is the limit and for the minutes. These are roughly 3 minutes, so we're looking to cut them down back to 1 minute. We'll be adding them to our social media, featuring them there, and then definitely content for website, so that we can add more information also to a career page coming forth that will have these videos featuring our staff and other resources. For example, like the Ventura College Water Science Program, kind of have a way for somebody that is looking at water to find those easily. So I believe they will be hosted on YouTube. I'll have to confirm with our IT that that's the best place that they live, so that they can then be placed on our website.
Great. Since you mentioned that you're trying to hit kind of all the departments, or the highlights, I know we don't post jobs often, but when we do, if we can attach the relevant video, I think it'd do a lot to give a visual understanding of what the position, what the environment is.
Well, we're going to be hiring a GIS analyst because the board just approved one. So
Yeah.
that fits nicely into IT, and it's a good opportunity to use these. I think this is something where now that we have them, we're going to find all sorts of applications that frankly we hadn't even thought of.
Yeah. Might be able to make one for every position.
Maybe not every position, but certainly we want to catch the breadth.
Yeah.
And I know there is a plan to include finance in the next round, but alas, I do not think it is Dan and his.
In tapping that interest in the water industry.
Yeah.
That's really valuable.
And part of the conversation and part of the reason we're going to unveil them next week at the purveyor meeting is not to do these for the purveyors, but to provide a template and that they can follow, and they could contract with Dragon Media, who we used for the filming, so that they can do, because there's a lot of interest on the purveyor side of doing this as well. And I think, a ton of work has gone into these, obviously, but it also, I think seeing them done will provide the inspiration to purveyors. It's like, well, yeah, this is probably something that we can do, because it was a couple of days of scouting and then really a day where Tyler was on site to do all of these. So it's a lot of work, but it's also doable. So I think it's going to go a long way for our purveyors to have the same kind of option.
Great. There's no more questions from the board. Thank you, Jen. Great work. Fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And please thank all our actors for us. Okay, item 3, system operations without SCADA. Omar Castro, Manager of Operations and Maintenance.
And so Omar's going to talk kind of generally about how we operate the system without SCADA and how we did it recently.
Good afternoon, board members. Just to go over our standard operation. Our system is typically operated by a single operator in the control room. They have remote access to SCADA where they can collect data. That is one person on a rotating shift, and we operate that 24/7, 365 days a year. As you know, from part of the presentation from James, that our SCADA system provides up and current information for remote locations, and also gives us alarming set points should any levels or any parameters be outside our normal operating condition. We can get alarms that way. And currently our communication through our remote facilities are provided through a fiber optic line with Spectrum. And we are also looking at a redundant connection through AT&T that will be installed as part of the network relocation center. So on April 23rd, Spectrum notified us that their main internet feed would be shut down, which impacts our data system. And that work was going to occur on May 13th from midnight till 6 a.m. All right, so to prepare for the shutdown, we had a roundtable discussion, tabletop discussion to identify the impacts of the outage and then establish what resources we were going to need to be able to manage our system and operate it remotely. And we figured that it's going to take about 16 of 48 of our operators. We created a pre-event task list, making sure that we identified the purveyors that we needed to communicate with, and then any critical tanks or anything like that that we needed to raise elevations to. Staff were given assignments of locations and then the communication protocol to ensure that all of our critical facilities we were rotating, and then they would report in on the hour. And some locations we wanted to get every 30 minutes. We did a little cellular pilot that you can see down there in the last column where it says cellular Lindero. We did have an extra cell phone, and we actually FaceTimed a reading port where we can collect data. So it worked pretty well. So we look at that, but we don't have 20, 40, 50 extra cell phones laying around. So the assignment protocol, it's really just making sure that we knew what our tank levels are going to be, what needs to be shut off, and then what needs to be in local control so that there isn't the automation portion of it. That was all scheduled with staff. We went over the procedures to do it, and then the implementation. The night of the outage, we did a briefing just to revisit the assignments, make sure that everybody understands their assignments, the communication, and then the protocol of what the levels we're expecting to see and what adjustments should be made should anything go out of those parameters. And this map just identifies the remote locations that staff would be set up at and where we would be collecting data from, and then they would be logging that information as well as calling it in. So the night of communication, 12 o'clock, Spectrum notified us that their outage, that their work commenced, and we noticed that the communication was lost. Manual operation of the system commenced. And then at 6 a.m., Spectrum reached out and notified us that all of their work had been completed. We're able to review all of our systems, make sure everything was back up and running, and we didn't have any communication glitches once they came back online. So what did we learn from this outage? Well, we need to create our SOPs to make sure that we have that training and a tool for communication and how we respond to the outages. We need to conduct routine exercises to make sure that we're ready and how we respond. We do want to have a better communication with Spectrum so that we get updates as the project is moving along, not just waiting for them to say all clear at 6 a.m. And then we do have a future redundant communication path, which is essential, and that is something that's coming up in the future CIP, which we mentioned. And then, as you saw, how many resources it takes to operate our system manually. It is very intensive, and it's not the most comfortable way to operate your water system. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Gilmore. Any questions, comments from the board? Dr. Pakala?
What percentage of the staff was involved in this exercise?
So for our operating system, it's about a third of our staff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. How many point locations did you have to manually staff in comparison to where we would normally just have a SCADA system monitoring?
So
additional point locations? Is it like?
Yeah, so normally we have 1 point, and it's right here in our control room. So we have one person sitting at one location, And every circle that you see on this graph is where we had to send staff.
So 14.
14, and you would have 2 people at some locations.
Okay.
So they, one could stay and one can go and review a tank level or a pressure transducer or whatever they needed to look at.
How long did that go for? Sorry, I missed.
6 hours?
So the schedule shutdown was from midnight to 6 in the morning.
Were you guys affected also by the one on Saturday, spectrum outage?
No.
No. Apparently there was a vandalism and somebody cut the spectrum lines in Simi Valley and everyone was out of internet. So I was just wondering, would something like that affect us?
It could, it did not. But I did receive it on my personal cell phone also.
That goes back to that risk study that we did, vandalism. And that kind of begs the question is, you know, this one, it was a predetermined outage. How would we have reacted during an unexpected outage?
We would have done the same thing. We would have called staff in and started sending staff out to the location. That's why we mentioned how important it is to have an SOP and the training so that when the event happens, staff knows where they're going to be stationed and then what the protocol is for communication at that point through our cellular devices.
It's a good exercise to do. And then one more question. So if this hadn't been like a short-term outage, it had been like a long-term outage, I guess also consider how in an SOP you'd handle that, you know. So I guess with a third of the staff, you'd have the bandwidth to cycle out, but
Yeah, it really is dependent on what type of demand we're seeing from our system and what changes need to be made. Going out and gathering data and giving levels is a lot easier than going out and starting to work valves, wait for a reaction, but we could cycle staff through and give people dose.
I know that in the last, when there were the fires, the power outages, and the internet outages, some districts went out and got satellite internet systems. And I wonder how, you know, the cost benefit analysis, that's why I was asking how many locations and all that would kind of pan out. But no, it's just a thought. I don't need a
answer on that. So as part of the work we've been doing, when we switched off of the DS0 circuits, which is the 156K copper circuits, where we had communications going to all these sites, we've been switching to internet locations. At each one of these sites, we've been getting a primary internet feed from Spectrum, from Frontier, whoever the local sources that we can get. And at the same time, the routers that are being installed also have cellular backup. So every place that we're putting in communications now is going to have redundant communications for all of our field sites. Right, so that covers our field sites. Some of those sites are getting Starlink. So we are going to be investing in. There's 3 locations where we couldn't get feasible costs for getting the internet installed at those. So we are putting Starlink at a couple of those sites as well.
Wow.
But the issue for this particular outage, right, was the spectrum outage that affected us here on this property. And that's, like you said, the data center relocation project, CIP project, we had already considered and put into that the upgrade so we would get a secondary internet feed when that was installed. Part of it was for logistics for the movement of the data center from one location to the other. The other part was so that we did have that redundancy here, because when spectrum goes down, that's all of our communications for the whole entire field at this location. So.
Very good. Wow. Okay.
Director McMillan?
Yes, I just wanted to let you know that once a year, Metropolitan has an emergency day exercise where we would go ahead and have something like this that would happen. But we would also take into account what would happen if this would impact the community. What did we bring in our legislative representatives like Charlotte and her team to say, okay, we're going to call the legislative offices and let them know what's going on in case they start getting calls. I just don't think about our own communications and our operations, but think beyond it, how we continue need to outreach to our community in various means to take care of that. So that was my only comment. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I can just respond to that really quickly, Director McMillan, Charlotte is not here this evening because she's in Sacramento at a Cal OES Public Information Officer training. So I'm sure these types of these very types of things are going to be covered in that. So she's boning up on her skills for just these type of emergency response communications.
I'll call to see if she wants to go to dinner. My God, I'm up here too.
I think she's flying home tonight, actually.
Oh, bummer. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more questions from the board? Comments?
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Gilmore. Great work. Please, as usual, thank your staff for us. E1 General Counsel's report.
Just three really brief updates. Since the last board meeting, I've worked with operations staff on some bid issues, with engineering staff on some contractor claim issues, and with the manager of HR and risk management regarding various consultant agreements to help manage the district's risk. So,
Thank you. Board directors reports, committee meeting reports.
No committee meetings since the last board meeting.
Okay. Board member reports, item A, report of Aqua Region 8 Director.
Okay, yes, I went to the Aqua Executive Board meeting on June 5th and 6th. And so just a few highlight items. Won't go into all the details they covered in a big, long agenda, but they're on schedule for the new executive by September. And they did have the Aqua Strategic Plan Progress Report dashboard available, which is probably on their site as well, but it kind of looks like this, you know, with a big legend in the back. And so it shows the progress of how they're working with the Aqua staff and making progress towards goals. Also, we had Carla Namath talk to us, talking about the Table A supplies being 88% prescribed, citing the trailer bills, or basically targeting the judicial permitting processes only. And it does not, she wanted to emphasize, it does not diminish the due process and or environmental review of the trailer bills that are being considered. Also, the committee appointments are due June 30th. And I think that's enough, I think.
Thank you, Director Quady. JPA?
Okay, and the only thing I have for JPIA is what was reported to the executive board was Adrian got on to talk about the CWIF approved 20 million dividend back to JPIA in their Utah meeting. And then they are also working the cyber renewals, where they're also hiring a security risk specialist. And and one other thing for the Aqua is that I know there's been some talk about Monterey being either forever gone or something, but no, what they said was that Monterey conferences will not occur before 2028. That's all.
What?
That means we're in Sacramento the next 3 years.
What's that?
In the spring?
Well, that I don't know. All I know is that Kathy Green was saying that there's nothing happening in Monterey till 2028. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Quady. Next up is AWA.
No board meeting since the last board meeting. There was a riveting seawater intrusion brief on the 17th. And I think that's all I have. There's a Waterwise tomorrow.
At United. We'll host again in July.
Thank you, Director Robert. Director Pacala, Fox County GMA.
Yes, I have attended June 13th, Fox County GMA special board meeting remotely. It was 2.5 hours long. And one of the items they had on their agenda was to look into GMA board members' compensation. And board director staff to come back with a report to see what's appropriate allowances for the board members for every meeting. They talked about potentially $100 per meeting, like maximum of 10 meetings per month.
Interesting.
It was interesting.
They don't already get compensation through their agencies for serving on Fox County, do they?
Well, I know, like, if you are on water districts, like United Water Conservation, they get the compensation.
Right.
But there's an ag rep who doesn't represent an agency, so.
So would the compensation be for everyone or just the ones who
They do
don't?
not know. They're asking the staff to come back with recommendations and a study.
Yeah.
For example, county board of supervisors, they do not get any compensation per board meeting, but they get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, it takes me back to LAFCO. I don't bill Calleguas for that meeting. I don't count that as a meeting because they give me $50 for mileage and attending, right? So it feels like double dipping and it's not necessary. So that's why I ask.
Another item they considered was a appeal for a well permit. This was a long discussion. There's a lot of debate. It was appealed by Daily Ranch. There's a dispute between two family members about getting a allocation for a new well and well permit. What's interesting, after the long discussions, the board was split 2-2 to deny or approve the well permit. This item will come back to the board when they have all 5 board members present. It'll be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Well feuds a tale as old as time here. Since the first settlers.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Pacala. Director McMillan, Met Water District report.
Yes, and I'm going to have to get a corrected report to our board secretary. I noticed an omission and a couple of typos. But for Calleguas, Metropolitan, on June 5th, I attended the Northern Caucus via Zoom. On June 7th, I had to take sexual harassment prevention training. June 8th, I traveled to Met for the board meetings. I did not get a notice that the board meetings were canceled, unfortunately, until 7:30 that night. And I'd already paid for the hotel. So the next morning I had to turn around and go home. Then on June 10th to the 12th, I, with our chair Ortega, attended a North Feather River tour to meet with ranchers and ag up there to see if there's any possibilities of us partnering together. Anything regarding the Delta. We think there's some common ground there, and I think something good's going to come out of it. But what it is right now, it's very murky and unclear. So we're just at the initial stages. And then we had the special board meeting on June 13th because we needed to call or discuss the recruitment for the new GM, and we need to get that fast track since the GM is expected to be on board in either August or September, and we're a little bit behind, so we had to call that meeting. And then also a weekly legislative update with the chair. And then this week, right now, I'm on the Delta Construction Authority board meeting in Sacramento on June 17th to the 19th. And I will also comment that for the Region 8 board, I've already submitted Metropolitan's resolution and my application nominating me to the Region 8 board as the MWD representative. And that's it.
Thank you, Director McMillan. LAFCO, we have not had a meeting since the last LAFCO meeting, but I was able to get a LAFCO support letter for the DCP. That was a positive thing. And moving on to Windsor County Regional Energy Alliance.
Yes, there was no board meeting.
Okay. VCSBA.
No board meeting since, or no VCSDA meeting since our last board meeting.
Okay, now let's go around the table for the list of admin code reimbursable meetings. Director Quady.
I just said tonight's board meeting.
Easy enough. Director Pella.
Yes, I have a few. Today's board meeting, I attended June 12th, the Waterworks District 1 Citizens Advisory Committee meeting in Moore Park. I also attended June 13th meeting at Leisure Village. This is the meeting that Director Norman Hill talked about from Camarosa. Leisure Village residents are very active. There are a lot of participation. We heard as many, more than 100 people have attended remotely or in person. Wow. I guess there were maybe 25, 30 people in person.
I think there were more than that in person.
More than that?
Yeah.
So we were told more than 100 people were watching, I guess on YouTube, whatever channel they have. They have their special channel just for them. And there were several good questions about water rates, supplemental irrigation water from Camarosa to them, and also reliability of water supply, emergency water supply. Very good questions, both general managers, our general manager, Christine, and Camarosa general manager answered respective questions from the residents. And this meeting, by the way, was organized by Mr. Tony Tremblay, council member for City of Camarillo. This Leisure Village happens to be within the district, division I represent. So I was there along with our staff.
Very good. Director Robert?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to not the last board meeting, but the one before that, just because I only viewed the last board meeting. I didn't get to report. So on May 27th, Metropolitan Subcommittee on Imported Water. On June 2nd, the ENC committee that Pakala as an alternate briefed the board last meeting. I viewed the last Calleguas Municipal Water District board meeting. On the 13th, Metropolitan's special joint meeting. On the 16th, Port Wainington Water Agency meeting. They had some changes internally, but nothing that related to Calleguas. And on the 17th, I already talked about the AWAC water intrusion and tonight's board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Director Robert. Director McMillan.
Yes, on June 5th, I attended the CSDA Membership and Professional Development Committee via Zoom. And it was done to select the final awardees for the upcoming annual conference in Monterey. On June 17th, AWA's Water Issues Committee, and then tonight's board meeting.
Okay, thank you, Director McMillan. Since the last board meeting I attended on May 22nd, I attended the AWA Delta update as well as the Calleguas plus Las Virgenes media tour. On June 2nd, I attended the engineering committee. On the 3rd, the operations committee. On the 10th, I flew to Sacramento. On the 11th, we met with several assembly members and some state senators. It was very productive. It was very well prepared by staff and as well as the other water districts who attended and met staff. Charlotte did an incredible job. It was eye-opening. It was productive. It was very busy. We met with 10 different assembly members and senators. We got about the same response from most of them. It was a little disappointing. Most of them seemed very concerned on certain groups' thoughts of the DCP as well as the Delta Caucus. And I mentioned this before. at about the seventh meeting, I was tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, which was what I felt was saying, that they were saying was, well, you don't matter. We care more what the Delta caucus thinks and the residents of the Delta. So I think it was the seventh meeting, to one of the assembly members, I said, well, who do you represent? Do you represent us and the interest of the communities that you live in? Or do you represent the Delta? Because this is a extremely important issue that affects your region. If those levees break, the estimated outages are 6 months to 2 years. Who's at fault for not approving this trailer bill and expediting this project? And the answers I got, because I mentioned that to the last 3 meetings, were about the same. Well, we represent the state, not just our region. Well, and my response to that was, well, yes, you're a state representative, but you were elected to serve and represent the interest of your community by your voters. And I didn't get much response to that.
How'd that go?
I felt that I was in the right. I got several thank yous by some of the other people who are attending with us, because I think everybody felt the same. I guess I'm just the one who talks a little bit more. But that was legislative advocacy. And I believe that a lot of what they are saying, a lot of their views are because a lot of the groups that are very active in the Delta frequent their offices very, very often. And they don't hear from us as often as those other groups. They don't hear the perspectives from us like they do from those other groups. And, you know, just like Leisure Village, squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I think we need to, you know, be active, let them know why this is important, why it needs to be expedited and moved along. So hopefully we can make more trips out there, or send more letters, do what we need to do, social media campaigns, let the public know why this is important and why it needs to be moved along, and why they need to reach out to their assembly members and their state senators that represent them. And
you know, I hear we make really good videos.
we make really good videos, and I envision a video of a levee breaking and water outages in California, the Southern California drying up, and right at the end, contact your representatives.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
What's the status of this bill? Where does it stand? What are the next steps?
So it was pulled from the budget. Honestly, good question, because I was going to bring that up. It sounds from what they told us was there are many things in the budget that have been pulled because of the deficit. So they know this is important to the governor. So they want to use this as well, give us some of the stuff we want and maybe we'll consider approving that. And some of the assembly members outright said that. They said, well, you know, they pulled a lot of the stuff we want. The governor really wants this trailer bill. So maybe he'll give us some of the stuff that we want, and maybe we'll add this back in.
Thank you. Thank you for going to Sacramento and be there.
And the question is, the things they want, are they representing the state, or are the things that they're asking for their districts?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Well, the thing is, you know, they're saying, no, I represent the state, so, you know, I need to really think about other interests besides those people in my district. Well, what are they holding the governor's trailer bill hostage for? For things that they want for their district, or things that they want for the state?
Exactly. That's a great question. I wish I would have thought of, and hopefully the next trip you can come out with me. Thank you, Director McMillan.
You're welcome. Sorry, Director Pacala, to speak over you. I just get a little emotional.
Yeah, you and I both.
That's a good thing.
means, it only means that it's important to us, right? We're passionate about water and we want to see things continue to improve, not decline. Moving on from that, on the 13th, I caught up to what I had missed at the last Calleguas board meeting where I was on an airplane in Alaska. Thank you, Director Pacala, for stepping in and running the meeting. And I'm sorry for the late notice on that.
But it happens. Unless you happen to be here.
You did a great.
I think it's only the second meeting I missed, so hopefully no more.
Contingency worked well.
On June 9th, I watched the Simi Valley City Council meeting, and I also did some lobbying there to get the city to support TCP and send a member of their council to come out with us to Sacramento, and they did. They approved somebody, and Elaine Lister came out. She was fantastic. It was great having her as backup and another voice from our region. Also with that, they had their strategic planning meeting for the council on the 10th. I didn't watch that meeting, but I did get a text message or a call from one of their council members after their strategic planning. And I think my very passionate path with that council has paid off, and they've made working with Calleguas and pushing for water resiliency one of the top 3 items for the city of Simi Valley. So expect to hear more from that, and it's paid off. So I'm very happy with that. And tonight's board meeting. Sorry, mine took a little while. Do we have any upcoming meetings to be attended by the board?
If I could highlight a couple of things, if you don't mind. The purveyor meeting next Thursday, just want to highlight the fact that it is not here. We'll be touring Camarosa's treatment plant in the Santa Rosa Valley. That's at Hill Canyon and Santa Rosa Road. And then City of Thousand Oaks is actually hosting us at the wastewater treatment plant for the lunch and discussion part of that meeting. So don't come here. We won't be here next Thursday. The Calleguas LV Internet Connection Joint Board Tour that was scheduled for July 9th is going to be rescheduled due to some schedule complications with the LV board. So stay tuned for a future date on that. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight, it's not on the upcoming meeting schedules because it's out a bit. And that is, we have, Director McMillan has a state water project tour on November 7th through 9th, which will be joint with the SCV Water, Santa Clarita Valley Water. They're not a MET member agency. They're actually a direct state water project contractor. So unique opportunity to really build some relationships with a different water agency in our region. And the board does have to decide tonight or at a subsequent board meeting which other board member will be joining Director McMillan on that tour.
I did ask Director McMillan if, well, I guess it's up to the board, but I would like to attend this one. I think I haven't attended one in a long time, and like a refresher and get out there and meet some of these other water districts.
Well,
anybody else?
And also I'm going to be working with the Delta Construction Authority to kind of tweak the tour a little bit, to kind of bring in some of their staff. You know, Director Luna from LA kind of wants to elevate this tour specifically, and he wants to come as well. So there may be some little changes that we've seen in the past, just to include the Delta Construction Authority. And I think it would be a very good one. I apologize.
Great.
I would have loved to go on this trip. However, I'm out of state, will not be able to go.
I'm also interested because I haven't been in a while, but that's okay.
I've been on one more recently, so I will defer.
All right. Thank you. Are you, is the board okay with, me attending this one or?
Yes.
Yes.
I have no issues.
Okay, thank you.
That's everything I had on the upcoming meetings.
Do we have a request for future agenda items?
Well, I have an upcoming meeting for the
Oh, okay.
JPA workers' comp on the 25th and 26th of June.
Director Bacala?
On June 20th, I will be touring ASR Wellfield. I have not gone there since the construction was completed, 15, 16 years ago. I'll be general manager and deputy general manager will be there along with me. On June 23rd, VCRA board meeting in Ventura. June 29th, GMA board meeting in Ventura. June 26th, Calleguas Purveyors meeting at Camarosa Water Treatment Plant, Santa Rosa Valley. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Bacala. Request for future agenda items.
And I had just one future or upcoming meeting on the 26th.
Sorry, Director Bacala.
I'll be attending the Orange County Water Conference as a guest of MWD.
Thank you, Director Bacala.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Okay, third try, I'm sorry. Request for future agenda items. Okay, nothing. Any board comments? Okay. Did everybody get a chance to look at the long list of letters that were sent in support of the trailer bill?
You can see this is a mix of Calleguas letters, there's LAFCO letters, and there was a Thousand Oaks letter, I believe, mixed in here as well. So you can see that Charlotte Holifield, our manager of external affairs, has been, as well as Kat, have been very, very active, rounding up and demonstrating the support that your comments earlier indicated just highlighted how just important that is.
Extremely. Okay, thank you. Do we have a need for a closed session?
No.
Okay, and with that, thank you, everybody.